Ariel is a young and carefree teenage girl having fun with her friends. Having taken a ride in a car, she goes to a party with her friends, where she sends off another boyfriend. The other girls ask her to be more courageous and offer her a drink. At some point, Ariel looks at the time and realizes that it is already 12:30. At midnight, she needs to be at home, so the girl hastily leaves the party. One of her friends promised that her mother would come, but this never happened, so Ariel is forced to hitchhike home. The father is nervous that his daughter is still missing and goes outside. He sees her jumping out of an unfamiliar car in short shorts and changing clothes, hiding her clothes in an electrical closet. When the daughter returns home, Giora demands that she take off her pants. Noticing that there are no short shorts under them, the man asks his wife to go to the shield and bring what is there. Nava finds her daughter's shorts, but decides to avoid the scandal and hides them in the trunk of a car. Giora knows the truth and decides to punish her daughter. Taking scissors, he cuts Ariel's clothes and exposes her half-naked to the street. Despite the cruel methods of upbringing, the stern father is worried and watches his daughter from the window all night so that nothing happens to her. In the morning, she returns to the bedroom a minute earlier than expected, and Giora again punishes Ariel. He forces her make the bed, noticing the minute. At some point, the man is distracted by a call from work, and the girl breaks the bottle to cut her finger and stop bullying her. A few hours later, Nava, Ariel, and Root go on a picnic. At some point, they turn off to go around the farm, as their father forbade them to enter its territory. The eldest daughter resents the unquestioning obedience of her mother. A little later, Ariel asks her mother to let her drive, but the woman refuses because she does not trust her. Stopping at the stones, Nava asks her daughter to show her the correct trajectory so as not to damage the car. Asking Ariel to sing with them, the woman promises to let her daughter drive on the way back. After having fun near the pond, the family returns home. The girl, as promised, got behind the wheel to take her loved ones home. Having again approached the stones, they stop. Mother wanted to take control, but Ariel asked to trust her. Directing her daughter, Nava set her the trajectory of movement. At some point, the girl mixed up the pedals and accidentally stepped on the gas, pushing her mother, as a result of which the woman fell and hit her head on a stone. Frightened, Ariel tried to help her, but her mother lost consciousness and did not move. It took a long time to wait for an ambulance, so the girls dragged their mother into the back seat and hurried to the hospital. Giora arrived here, having learned about what had happened. While he is talking with doctors, the girl visits her mother's room and sees that she has fallen into a coma and is in a terrible state. Realizing that daughters have no place in the hospital, the man takes them home and leaves them in the care of their grandmother. Ariel defiantly refuses to eat and shows a rebellious nature. First, she throws the food into the trash can and then breaks the plate, throwing it on the floor. Ariel can't sleep at night and finds her little sister in the bathroom. Root is very worried about her mother and what happened to her. Trying to calm her little sister, Ariel lies down with her in the bathroom. Giora remains in his wife's room and, falling asleep, has a nightmare. He recalls the events of 10 years ago, when he came to the farm to talk with the parents and son of a soldier who lost his life through his fault. The next morning, Giora and Ariel look for the car in the parking lot, as the girl doesn't remember where she left it. The man knows about what happened on the road, but does not punish his daughter because he cannot think of a fair punishment for her. Realizing that she cannot do without it, Ariel decides to punish herself instead of her father. In the toilet, she finds a sharp object and cuts off her pants, making her shorts too short. After that, the girl goes to the track and tries to catch a passing car, realizing what the consequences could be. Soon, an SUV pulls up beside her with 4 guys ready to give a ride to an attractive girl. They invite her to play a game and explain the rules. Each of the participants in turn suggests a word from which you need to compose and sing a song. If someone does not cope, then they beat him as a punishment. Nobody is going to offend the girl, so she is offered to take off one thing for each mistake. Having accepted the conditions of the game, Ariel thinks of a word, but does not sing. Ignoring her father's call, she takes off her sweater and remains in her bra. One of the guys gets excited at the sight of a beautiful girl and decides to seduce her. Allowing himself impudence, he touches her chest and invites a friend to participate in this. Ariel understands what will happen next, but does not resist it, as she is ready for a cruel and vile punishment. At some point, her body cannot stand the disgust of what is happening, and the girl is sick. After stopping the car, the indignant guys drop off Ariel and leave. After that, the girl calls her younger sister to calm her down and find out how her mother feels. There was no punishment yet, so Ariel asks Reed not to tell her father about their dialogue and promises to return home as soon as her mother wakes up. Arriving at the place where the tragic event took place, the girl goes to the farm, a fenced area that her father asked to go around by any means possible. Once on the farm, Ariel accidentally falls into a trap and cannot get out. An SUV stops nearby, in which a young guy and a man who works with him were driving. At first, the girl refused their help, but a minute later she allowed Ben to open the trap to free her leg. Still dreaming of punishment, Ariel ripped open her sneaker and threw a rock at the departing car for Ben and Simone to give her a lift. As soon as Ben stopped to run home, Ariel began to seduce Simon into taking advantage of the defenseless girl. The man resisted the temptation and rejected her. Soon, Ben, who had found shoe repair glue at home, returned to the car, and Ariel fell silent. A little later, the guy repaired the girl's damaged sneaker and asked to leave the farm, as it is a private area. Ariel does not want to leave and asks to find a job for her. Ben refuses because there is hard physical labor which not every man can handle. Deciding to prove her masculinity and endurance, the girl grabbed a lighter and put her hand under the open fire. Ben is shocked by what is happening and asked Ariel to stop. Seeing a severe burn on her arm, the guy helped treat the wound with aloe juice, after which he agreed that the girl worked on his farm. After walking around the grounds for a bit, Ben showed them how to work with flowers and gardening tools. The girl understands that they are engaged in the manufacture of wreaths and notices that most of them are for the graves of the military. She wonders who their clients will be when the war is over. Ben replies that there are people who die of natural causes. In addition, many become victims of car accidents. These words hurt Ariel because she remembers her mother, who is in a coma and does not want to lose her. As soon as Ben leaves, the girl goes to the cold store after Simon, who is working with flowers. She asks the man to punish her and allows him to do whatever he wants. In an attempt to seduce Simon, Ariel took off her blouse and let her underwear be seen. Realizing that he still could not decide on something more, the girl bared her breasts and let him touch them. Succumbing to desires, Simon could not restrain himself and grabbed Ariel with both hands. At the same moment, she began to touch the man between the legs, pushing him to further action. At some point, Simon nevertheless realized that all this was wrong and, pushing the girl away, ran away. Realizing that she was again rejected, Ariel decided to punish herself on her own and closed herself in the refrigerator from the inside. Meanwhile, Giora continues to be in the hospital next to his wife and helps the medical staff take care of Nava, who is in a coma. A little later, the man tries to call his daughter, but she still ignores his calls. Giora asks her younger daughter where Ariel disappeared, but the girl hides the truth at the request of her older sister and says that they did not communicate. In the evening, Ben returns to the farm and learns that Ariel has locked herself in the refrigerator. Having slightly opened the door, the guy cuts the rope with scissors and gets inside. He asks Ariel to come outside, but she refuses. Then the guy also takes off his clothes and says that he is ready to freeze with her. Realizing that Ben is not to blame for anything, the girl agrees to leave the refrigerator. Ariel is very cold, so Ben warms her with a blanket and takes her home so that the girl does not get sick. Upon arrival, she falls asleep for several hours, warmed up under a blanket next to the heating on. After Ariel wakes up, the guy talks about the weapon hanging on his wall. He reports that his father was a soldier who lost his life during another military operation. The guy blames the arrogant commander for this, who never came to them to apologize for his arrogant mistake. At some point, a spark jumps between the guy and the girl, and in a romantic impulse the couple kisses. Giora wakes up from another nightmare in which he is again sitting in a car in front of the boy's house. He cannot dare to speak to the son of a fallen soldier, but now next to him is not a colleague in the service, but Ariel. Having run out to the roof of the hospital, the man breathes fresh air to calm down a little. He worries more and more about his daughter every minute and calls her, but Ariel does not answer. After recording several audio messages, Giora screams in helplessness and takes out his anger on the concrete wall. Meanwhile, Ariel can't sleep and leaves the bedroom to take a walk around the house. On the wall, she finds newspaper clippings that report on Ben's fallen father, who lost his life due to the fact that the commander arrived at the task site a couple of minutes later than expected. Guessing why his father didn't want any of his family to end up on the farm, Ariel runs away and texts her younger sister. Giora notices Ruth's strange behavior and asks her daughter about her older sister. The baby cannot deceive her father and admits that Ariel decided to punish herself. Leaving the farm, the girl stops the van of one of the local workers and asks for a ride. At the same time, Giora realizes that his daughter is in danger and uses his connections to locate her. Having received the coordinates, the military man goes to the given coordinates and sees in front of him the same forbidden farm, on the territory of which he is afraid to call. Ariel and the farm worker leave for the countryside, after which the man stops the van. He understands that the girl does not mind spending time with him and decides to take advantage of this. Before heading back, Ariel calls her father and turns off the sound on his side, so that Giora can hear how she will be punished for her misconduct, but at the same time he could not shout back. The father answers the phone and overhears the daughter drinking with an unknown man and getting ready to make love. She is a virgin and Giora cannot let this happen, but he is powerless as he does not know where his daughter is. Without losing hope, the father rushes around the district and tries to find Ariel with the help of a loudspeaker. Meanwhile, the daughter lies in the van and lets the man take off her underwear. The farm worker is ready to take the girl by, when suddenly he hears Jora's voice and an approaching car. Realizing what responsibility this can be, the frightened man hurries behind the wheel, and as soon as Ariel gets out of the van, leaves, hiding from the scene. Finally finding his daughter, Giora apologizes to her for his tyranny and promises her that there will be no more punishments. The father repents of the methods of upbringing used and asks for forgiveness from his daughter, hugging her to him. He does not want Ariel to blame herself for one thoughtless act all her life and become like him. A little later, the girl goes to the hospital and visits Nava, still in a coma. Meanwhile, Giora overcomes her fear and goes to the farm to talk to Ben and ask the guy for forgiveness.